A grainy photograph looking down the length of U-505's narrow central passage. Condensation dripping from overhead pipes. A single young German sailor in a grease-stained turtleneck wiping sweat from his brow, dim red emergency lighting casting long shadows across the cramped space. Depth gauge faintly visible in the background. The claustrophobic weight of the Atlantic pressing in from all sides. Oberleutnant Harold Lange standing in the conning tower of U-505 as it breaks the surface. Seawater cascading down his leather jacket, one hand gripping the hatch frame, squinting against the blinding Atlantic sun, his face a mixture of exhaustion and dread. The American destroyer escort USS Guadalcanal looming large in the background with sailors lining its deck, rifles raised. A low-angle shot of Captain Daniel Gallery on the bridge of the Guadalcanal, binoculars pressed to his eyes, his uniform crisp despite the humidity. Crewmen behind him tensely awaiting orders, whitecaps visible across the choppy Atlantic surface, the distant speck of U-505's conning tower just visible breaking the waves, smoke from depth-charge detonations still dissipating in the background. German sailors from U-505 being helped onto the deck of the American destroyer escort by U.S. Navy personnel, outstretched arms reaching down, exhausted and soaking wet Kriegsmarine sailors looking up with hollow eyes. The contrast between the pristine American uniforms and the bedraggled German crew stark in the midday sun, steel deck plates glistening with seawater. Interior of the small interrogation cabin aboard the Guadalcanal, a single porthole letting in a shaft of harsh light cutting across the scene, Oberleutnant Lange seated at a folding table. His fingers just reaching for a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes slid toward him by Mr. Miller. The American interrogator's face half hidden in shadow, only his eyes and the faint curve of a knowing smile visible. A German U-boat officer standing at the railing of a troop transport ship as the Virginia coastline emerges from the morning haze, his hands gripping the rail tightly, the lush green of the American East Coast spreading before him, a stark contrast to the bombed-out harbors of Germany he left behind, seagulls wheeling overhead in the soft dawn light. The entrance gate to Camp Ruston, Louisiana, a simple but sturdy wooden structure with a neatly painted sign, American Military Police in perfectly pressed uniform standing at ease, their M1 carbines slung casually over shoulders. Beyond the gate, a manicured lawn and whitewashed barracks buildings that look more like a summer camp than a prison, the Louisiana heat shimmering off the gravel path. A mess hall at Camp Ruston crowded with German prisoners sitting at long wooden tables, their faces a mixture of disbelief and barely restrained hunger. Steam rising from trays of fried chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy, corn on the cob, and fresh white bread being served by African-American cooks in clean white aprons, the abundance almost obscene compared to European rations. A close-up portrait of 3 German U-boat officers sitting on the edge of their bunks in a clean, airy barracks, one holding a letter from home with a troubled expression, another staring at a half-eaten apple in his hand as if it might be poisoned, the third looking out a screened window at the Louisiana pine forest beyond, the afternoon sunlight casting soft shadows across the wooden floor. German prisoners lounging on a grassy lawn at Camp Ruston beneath the shade of live oak trees draped with Spanish moss, some reading books from a small lending library, others